Welcome to Mind Body Besties, your weekly reset with real talk, a little laughter, and the kind of honest conversations you'd have with your closest friend. I'm Katie, a therapist.
And I'm Rachel, a naturopathic doctor. We're here to share the personal stories, struggles, and wins that have shaped our own health and happiness. This isn't a lecture, it's a safe space to slow down, connect, and feel a little more human again. So grab your coffee, get cozy, and let's reset together. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk today about just how powerful your brain is. You are actually a super powerful mastermind, and you don't even know it.
This stuff is wild, guys. We had so much fun talking about this beforehand, and I mostly sat here just mind blown. So we've got a lot of cool stuff today.
It's pretty neat. One way that we can just start to even comprehend how powerful our brain is, we can go to some of the research. And there's been times in our lives, all of our lives, I'm sure, where we've had moments of, wow, something I thought or did, or a way I framed something that really ended up affecting my day or how I feel or my life. But it's neat when we have research tracking multiple people to show us that this is happening on a big scale. So one of these areas is people who visualize recovering after they are in a hospital from a surgery or whatever they're recovering from, where they're not able to have full mobility and activity. If they visualize recovering, it actually helps them heal physically. So people who visualized moving around and walking and using their muscles had less muscle loss from just laying in a hospital bed not moving than the people who didn't.
How is that possible?
Okay. It's because our brain doesn't know the difference between what we visualize and what we see.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense, because it's the same thing as your brain doesn't understand perceived danger versus real danger.
Yes.
If you have a panic attack or you have OCD and you're in fight or flight, it doesn't know the difference. Okay.
And why someone who's super emotionally sensitive like myself can watch the news and feel like I just got stabbed.
Yeah. No, okay, I buy it.
Yeah. This is what I tell people. Watch what you're watching. No horror shows. Be careful what your brain is taking in, because your brain thinks you are literally experiencing that. And another thing that's been found is that you can strengthen your muscle memory just by practicing doing something. So athletes who are trying to perfect a skill like a free throw, picture over and over again in their mind without moving, making the basket, every movement of it. I line up my hands, I move my arm in this way, I track my eyes in this way. And then when they go and perform physically after doing that, they perform better because their body practiced the muscle memory just through their brain.
That's so crazy. I feel like in all the cheesy sports movies and the old Disney Channel original movies, the coaches would always be like, just visualize yourself running down the court, shooting perfectly, making a basket.
Apparently that's valid.
Okay, all right.
I think if we try to get like really sciencey technical about it, we're activating the same parts of our brain that we would use to actually do that thing by visualizing doing it. So we're still using and activating and exercising, for lack of a better term, that part of our brain.
Okay, so let's talk neural pathways. And can you explain that? Because that's not like normal terminology we use every day.
Yeah.
What's a neural pathway?
I like to think of, when I think of neural pathways, I like to think of how water in a creek flows according to the way that creek is. It's not suddenly one day just going to take a random different route. It's going to flow the easiest way where there's already an inlet, a ditch in the ground. So our neural pathways are the same, where our flow of it's electricity, but also we're having different neurons activate and different neurotransmitters released. It's going to travel different paths. There's a bunch of different creeks, and we can redirect it to go down a certain creek. We can push it down a different creek. By thinking through different scenarios, we're controlling which creek we're directing our electricity, our signals to go down.
Okay, so you're building a new path for that creek, and that's your new neural pathway.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. You're making a new creek, or you're just strengthening and reinforcing one that's already there.
Okay. So if you're strengthening it, it's like you're eroding everything underneath more and more, and
it's going to be more likely to do it that way that you practiced that muscle memory for your basketball shot because you practiced it a million times, even if it was in your head. You strengthen that pathway.
Gotcha.
So then you're going to move your arm in the right way when you go to actually do it.
Yeah, so there is actual science behind this. It's not just woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
We love some good
we
woo-woo
love the
stuff.
woo-woo, but there is science behind it. Yeah. Yeah. I think we should also talk about how thinking positively actually affects your cells and your immune system. So another study, if you think about something positive and happy like puppies for a couple minutes, you actually make more antibody warrior cells to fight off infections.
That makes a lot of sense because I know that if I, especially during sick season, if I'm really stressed out, I'm not sleeping, I'm not taking care of myself, but heavy on the stressed out, I will get sick every time. And every time I get sick, I now reflect and I'm like, what is stressing me out? What do I need to shift in my life to be less stressed? Because I only get sick when I'm stressed out.
That's a beautiful way to care for your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have an increased ability to fight off infections and we get less chronic disease when we are more optimistic and positive thinking. And I think in this day and age, at least when I hear positive thinking, I think of forced toxic positivity.
Like positive affirmations
Yes.
on your mirror.
Or just, oh, this is so great that I'm stuck in traffic. I love it anyway.
No, that's
It doesn't have to be that kind of positive thinking. This is more like gratitude and framing everything from a perspective of being as positive as possible while still being a realist.
Well, I do know that clients that I have and also just friends that I have that they wake up or before they go to bed, make a gratitude list, which I know sounds cheesy, but it's just little things throughout the day. Like, I don't know, for me it would be, Ivy slept through the night. I got to work 10 minutes early and I got to just do nothing for 10 minutes.
My car didn't break down on the way here.
Yeah, someone in the line at Starbucks bought my coffee today. Whatever, or I get to eat nachos tonight.
Or I had
Whatever.
a great phone call with a friend.
Whatever it is, but if you do the gratitude journal, then it really does set you up to be more positive because you're not just sitting there, oh my God, I got stuck in so much traffic and then I had to make dinner and then Ivy woke up in the middle of the night and I'm so tired. And because if you get stuck in that mindset, it's really easy to stay there.
Yeah, you're reinforcing your survival brain's threat scanning because your brain automatically, without you telling it to, is subconsciously building a negative file cabinet of everything that went wrong and that was bad or potentially scary, because those could all be lions that are about to eat you. But your brain isn't consciously building this positive file cabinet, so we have to do it consciously.
Yeah, and I personally am really bad about if a couple things go wrong in a day. By the end of the day, Logan will
It's
be
a
like,
loss.
well, yeah, and Logan will be like, what else went wrong today? What else? And I'm like, you stop. And I always laugh, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stop complaining. I'm gonna stop moaning about this. And he's okay. Yeah, let's stop.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So I think it's huge. I think we overlook like our brain can be such an ally to help us have a better functioning body. And it's crazy that we can measure those antibody levels and they literally go up when we have good thoughts and they go down when we are thinking about something that's not positive or that's creating stress for us.
Yeah, so if you didn't believe that mental and physical health are related, they are. More
Yes.
evidence.
Yes. And one last thing on that is it actually affects your genes, your positive thinking. And so we think we have this fixed set of genes, but we know from epigenetics we can modify our genes. And so you have to imagine that there's these zippers and they're zipping closed genes all the time. We want the zippers to be in a good mood and to zip closed all the bad genes and unzip all the good genes that we want. And so actually positive thinking affects that. It causes the zipper to work for us.
Yeah, I've seen lots of studies about trauma and epigenetics, and when you experience trauma, it unzips those bad genes.
Yes, 1000%. And one other fun fact to solidify this is that there was a 2017 research study. It found that people who felt happier on the day that they received a flu shot produced more flu-fighting antibodies.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
So that's just an actual scientific way to measure your antibody production to a trigger.
So if you're gonna go get a flu shot, have a really good day beforehand.
Don't do it on a bad day. Yes. I think we should talk about placebo for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So placebo is wild. The percent varies, but we know that it's at least about 30%, give or take, effective. which just goes to show how powerful our minds are. If you got a Tic Tac instead of an SSRI and you felt happier, then you thought you were getting that medication and your belief was strong enough to change how you feel. That's wild.
Yeah, it really is. And I always, when those people find out that they got the placebo, like, I wonder what they think about that. I don't know. I would be embarrassed, but then also that would give me so much motivation to change my way of thinking.
And change your beliefs.
So it might be a good thing.
I think our beliefs create a lot of stuff in our body physically.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
limiting beliefs, if you believe that you can't do something,
Yes.
you're not going to be able to do it.
That's oncologists have been trained now to not tell a patient that they don't think they're going to make it, because if you believe that, then you won't make it.
Yeah,
And if you believe that you'll make it, you actually have a better chance of making it out.
that's crazy.
It is crazy. I think science-wise, if we tried to explain what's happening, we know that we have all of these positive brain chemicals. If we believe in a treatment or we think something's going to happen, we're activating our endorphins. We know now that endorphins actually are modulating our immune system and helping us stay healthy and helping us fight off infections. So the same feel-good runner's high that we get is actually now being used in certain treatments to boost your immune system, because having that runner's high actually boosts your immune system.
Yeah. Do you run? Do you get a runner's high if you run?
When I used to run like 6-mile stretches, after a couple miles in, I would finally get it. But no,
Oh my
not
gosh.
anymore.
I've never had a runner's high in my life. Yeah, I may have not ever run far enough to get there.
No, even, I don't know. I think it's
I wish
overrated.
I do. Okay, I do get an exercise high from other types of exercise, but running, I think, makes me more upset.
I think I'm more likely to get an exercise high from weightlifting.
Yeah, same. Or yoga. Like a good power yoga class. Anyways, just anytime
Yes.
someone says the runner's high, I'm like, do you get that? Because I've never have.
I feel like it's definitely overvamped. There's also an important part with this placebo of the ritual of treatment. So the process of someone listening to you, providing care for you, caring for your body, and then just even your communication and interaction and support from that person, that also contributes to the placebo effect, which I would like to say is just evidence to how important it is to have a good doctor that you like.
Yeah, you have to feel safe in those
Yes.
settings. And if you have a therapist, safe with your therapist,
Yes.
because if you don't feel safe, your nervous system is upregulated more so
Yes.
than it would be if you felt very safe.
Oh yeah, I like, of different therapists that I've personally seen in my life. Oh my gosh, when I have a good match, it's night and day. Yeah. So I think that therapeutic relationship is really important. But here's the kicker. There's something called open label placebo. So studies show that the placebo effect can still happen even if the patient knows that they're getting the placebo.
Wow.
Yes.
I guess maybe. Wait, if they find out they had it and
No,
they get it
know
again?
from the beginning.
Oh.
They know that
Interesting.
it's an inactive substance, but what I think is you're showing your body that you're showing up for it and you're taking action and you're taking something.
Okay.
And you're caring for your body. And I think that action of taking a pill is basically coding a belief saying, I want to heal. And so your body hears that and says, oh, we want to heal. Okay, let's kick stuff up a notch. Let's start healing.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I would not have thought that. That's very cool.
Our brain is wild.
It really is. And then we are also going to talk about DID, or dissociative identity disorder, which used to be called multiple personality disorder. It's not called that anymore. But what was the study that you were going to talk about?
Yeah, there was a doctor, Dr. Putnam, and he noted that different personas in a single person had actually different allergies, and they would respond differently to different foods and substances. So they'd start getting itchy after a strawberry when one personality was primary and presenting versus another one.
And I've seen documentaries on this, and I know a lot of people think, oh, they're making this up. If you watch the right documentaries, I think this is very rare, but I do think it exists. And in these documentaries, the person would have a completely different voice. They would have obviously completely different
You
personalities.
truly become a different person.
They would be like sick or have some like chronic condition when they were one personality, but then not when they were another. So like with the allergies, and also they have dissociative amnesia when they're doing this. And so they don't remember what they did when they were one personality.
Right.
And so something is clearly going on in their brain when they're switching to an alternate personality. And the fact that a brain can do that is,
Again,
I
our
mean,
brains are masterminds.
yeah, it's scary, but it's also fascinating. And a lot of people think that your brain is protecting you from some trauma. So your actual self experiences trauma, pretty severe trauma, usually in childhood. It begins making these other personalities. So your brain is, oh, it's not safe to be you. So we're going to switch to someone else and we're going to turn off you and become this other person. And so a lot of people believe it's a trauma response. I don't know how much research there is on that, but that's what I've always heard, is that it's your brain protecting you.
From colleagues, that's what I have seen, is it seems to be like a fragmentation as a result of trauma.
Yeah.
And so it's our brain trying its hardest to protect us, like you said.
And so if a brain can do that, I find it pretty easy to believe it could also do all of these other things.
I think so too. I think if we were to truly examine our core deep beliefs, I think we'd be surprised what some of our beliefs are. Because, for example, I work with a lot of people who have chronic symptoms, and they're there seeing me because they want to heal. But deep down, if we were to do a don't think, just answer, like almost you're in a meditative state, and you say, do you want to heal? A lot of times the answer is actually no. And that's coming from the body and the brain, because our brain is so smart, it's scared for us to heal for some reason. It knows that this sick version of us survives. It doesn't know that the well version of us survives.
Yeah. And to add to that, a lot of times when I start talking about core beliefs with people in therapy, we'll get down to these core beliefs and I'll say, where did that come from? And sometimes it's, I don't know. Sometimes it's, I truly believe that. And sometimes it's, I think I learned that from someone.
That was my parents.
And so then it's, okay, now let's examine that. Do you actually believe that? And a lot of times they're like, I don't know. And so then begins the work of sorting out what's yours and what's not yours and figuring out your core beliefs. And then when you can live in alignment with those, it's very, I like existential therapy a lot. It's very existential to be living in alignment with your values, to become your best self, your most aligned, most authentic self. And then at that point, you start living the life you're supposed to live or that's meant for you, which then in turn makes you happier, healthier. So
that's my experience 1,000%.
Yeah.
And I think it's really neat to call out examples of that other way of framing therapy with existential therapy versus just something more traditional like CBT. Because what if you did a bunch of CBT, but you had a belief that was blocking you that you weren't in alignment with or something else? And if your immune system responds to you thinking about puppies versus you thinking about taxes, then how much is your immune system going to respond to you living your entire life in alignment versus out of alignment?
Yeah, I think there's a lot, if you really want to get into this stuff, there's a lot of really deep introspection you have to do and a lot of really being honest with yourself. But if you're living in alignment, you are happy, you have things to be grateful for, and you center your life around those things, how are you not going to be happier and healthier and just be like open to new opportunities and have more things coming your way that you want versus living a life that's not meant for you?
And I think just on that note, I think a big sign that we might be living out of alignment is if we feel numb or we're not feeling a lot of joy in our life. That's usually when we've started to slip out of alignment.
Yeah. And examples of numbing are things like mindlessly scrolling,
doom scrolling,
mindlessly watching TV,
staying on your phone at night when you know you sleep better without being on it before bed,
not spending any time alone and always having to be with other people or always having to be doing something if you can't sit still.
Letting Netflix like autoplay to the next episode without pausing it and stopping.
Yeah. And if you just find yourself on autopilot, like I just do the same things every day all the time. And I just drove to this place. Have you ever driven to a place? I don't remember getting here.
Oh my gosh. Again, our brains are so powerful.
Right? You're like, I couldn't tell you what just happened on this car ride, but I'm here. if you find a lot of your life to be like that, you're on autopilot.
1000%.
Yeah.
Which is a totally natural response to stress and something that we all slip into because our brain is running this negative file cabinet to keep us alive, and we've got to do the conscious work to actually live our most authentic, joyful lives.
Yeah, we all do this. And so it's just learning to be aware of when you start doing it.
I love that. Our brains are super, super powerful. They can feel like a burden when we're going through hard times, but if we know the right tools and we have a healing, positive perspective, our brains can also become a healing ally for us.
And if you listen to us on YouTube and you have any crazy stories, comment them, because I would love to know what crazy stories you have about this.
Same. All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today.
See you next time.
Thanks for joining us for another weekly reset. If you loved hanging out with us today, subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share this with a friend who could use a little calm and connection too.
This show is for education and inspiration, not medical advice. To learn more or connect with us, check out the show notes below. Until next time, take care of your mind, your body, and your heart.